Welcome to Think Like a Businessaire, episode number 4. And it's out of my book, Think Like a Businessaire, Christian's Guide to Starting and Building a Legacy Business. And in there, if you don't have the book, get it on Amazon. We go through all of the questions and answers and everything that you need to grow your thinking, to think bigger. You know, what usually keeps us from having a successful business, if not always, is we just need more wisdom. That's what I found in all my failed businesses that I've had. If I had the wisdom I have today, it would have been a different outcome. And same thing for you. We want to give you that wisdom. One of the key things that I've been great at in this world, as a gift that I want to share with you, is my ability to get a lot more done than most people can in a given week. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours. Successful people use their time differently than people that are in the average or unsuccessful. So how do we get to the place where I didn't want you to create a business that just created a job? Great. You left your job, you started a business, but now you're working 50, 60, 70 hours. You're working for your business when the whole thing is your business needs to transition where it works for you. That throughout the day, I work about 4 hours, if that, maybe 3 hours on my big knife company a week. That's what I do. My business is working for me. I don't have to work for it because I have systems and things in place, and I don't spend time wasting time on things that don't produce fruit. Sit back, relax, enjoy, expand your thinking in your mind, grow with us, and I know that God is going to richly bless you. Last week, we're still on this week. It's my favorite subject. I'm teaching in Georgia this weekend and for a bunch of business people, and this is the subject I'm going to teach on. Marketing, because you cannot build a business without marketing. Can't do it. And what you have to realize is most of us, when we found out about a product, a service, a restaurant, it was word of mouth. It's the most powerful thing for marketing in the world. It's just what people say about your company, what your customers say. They will talk about you. It'll either be great or it'll be bad. You can empower your customers to be your greatest asset, or they can be your biggest liability in this world. Last week, you all remember me talking about my pool guy? You remember my pool guy? Well, one of you, and I would never mention my pool guy's name or business. One of you, for some weird reason, knows who my pool guy is. So I did this on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, I got a text from a number, and it said, "Hey, this is blah, 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 your pool guy, you're the pool guy." And he's like, "Can we talk?" And I went, "I already know what we're going to talk about." Okay. Because some odd reason you haven't done this. Now, I used to have his phone number. Remember that I told you that. So I didn't recognize the number, so I called him up, and he goes, "Yeah, somebody I know goes to your class," and he says, "And what you said was really hard to swallow." He goes, "But you know what, Pastor, I want to be great. I want to be better, and I want to be great with customers. So can you please just teach me?" And that really, that was incredible. It really was, because I've been with him for almost 7 years. I was with him when he was doing the pools his own, and I watched his business grow, as I'm going to be watching all of your businesses grow in your world. And what can oftentimes happen is we lose sight of the most important people for our business. It's our customers. And customers become just a number. We all know that. We've all become numbers in somebody's business. And what happens is once we become a number, once we're no longer personal, once it's not about, me, I'm not very loyal to your business. And so we were able to come and talk about, my frustrations, other customers' frustrations. And here's the key. You're all going to grow a great business. Make sure, like my pool company, that you are able to steer your ship fast. See, how do you miss the icebergs in the water? Because there will be in business. You always want to be a business that can turn on a dime, that can turn very quickly. When we went through, COVID thing, and 75% of all my income, 75% of my income was trade shows. So all of a sudden, all trade shows shut down. Most of them, right, were still shut down up until about 3 months ago, right? So how long is that? 75% of my income. We had to be able to turn our business right? Everything that we do, 75% of our income on a dime, and become more profitable without doing trade shows than that we were with trade shows. And we had our best economic last 2 years we've ever had because we're able to turn fast. We don't want to get so big that we're like, we have to go through all these steps and maybe we'll do it in 3 months or 6 months and I got to meet with this committee and this committee. I have to be able to turn, can you imagine, right, sailing a ship and they're like, hey, iceberg up ahead. They're like, all right, well, we have to go to a committee next Tuesday and we're going to find out what the committee sees. We want to see all the plans and everything go. No, I have to be able to steer my business very quickly. And so we had some really good conversations and he's putting some great things in place. And one of the big ones that I wanted to share with you is, and I still do it, and I believe it for no matter how big your company is that I see all customer complaints, right? And I'm like, you've got to see it. Because here's the thing. Your employees don't care about your company nearly as much as you do. And most of them really don't care about your company, just to be honest. It's just people. They're there for the paycheck. They like the company. They like the job. But whether or not you make money doesn't matter a whole lot to them, right? How successful your company is, most of the time doesn't matter. And so what happens is customer complaints come in, and a customer becomes a nuisance. And they're complainers, and they're whiners, and I got to hear, right? And they don't handle it the way that you would handle it. I see this all the time when I go into business, and I tell my wife, I'm like, if the owner was here, this is not how they would do this, right? This is not how they would, an owner would never do whatever this is, because that's not how owners think. Owners are always thinking about my customers. And so I see every single complaint, and I told him, I said, you need to see them all. And then some of the times you can hand that off to your customer service person, and they can deal with it, and you can give them direction. I said, but there are times when you need to reach out, right? I have to be the voice, even for my multi-million-dollar knife company. I have to oftentimes be the voice when we really mess up, to be the voice because, and I'll show you here in just a few minutes, that a bad customer experience can make a loyal customer for life if you do it right. Sometimes a bad customer experience can be better than a good customer experience if you as an owner always handle it right and you see it as marketing. That I need that customer with a bad experience that doesn't get handled exactly right is going to be a voice against your company. They'll be anti-marketing. But if I can handle it right, then there'll be a voice for my company. Remember, they're going to talk about you. We have to choose what they're going to say. And they are the most powerful asset that you have. As we talked about last week, that's where I ended. And I wanted to give you even a better picture. Satisfaction can never be our goal, right? You never go and go, they're like, how was that restaurant? You're like, it was satisfying. I was very satisfied. The service was satisfactory. The meal was satisfying. You don't brag on anything that's satisfaction. That can't be our goal. Right? This is a lot of businesses' ceiling is just I want a satisfied customer. No. I want a customer that's elated. I want a customer that loved every part of their experience. Because the farther up, so if satisfaction is here, your customers will always be louder the farther you get away from satisfaction. So the worse the job below satisfaction you do, the louder your customers will be. Right? They'll be anti-marketing you. The farther you get away from satisfaction in this direction, the louder your customers will be. And so we want to be as far from satisfaction as we possibly can so that I can put into the mouths of my customers that they begin to speak highly, they begin to tell people because they have the ability, you think about their circle of influence, this is marketing 101, their circle of influence is about 10 people, right? You have a chance of getting 10 more customers from that one person who then, of course, they know 10 people, who, of course, they know 10 people. And so making sure that we're beyond that. All right, I'm going to start off with the experience because life is about experience. You remember your different experiences. I talked about my Apple. Every time I buy an Apple iPhone or a watch or anything, my experience from start to finish is just magical. They have created an unbelievable experience. And it takes that as you're starting a company, or if you already have a company, that you take a look at, I don't care if it's service, I don't care if it's a product, right? Whatever you're doing, what is people's experience from the beginning to the end, right? I want it to be an amazing experience from the start, right? From the very start, To the end when they have the product and the product is functioning, it's in their world. I want every step of that to be not satisfactory, but an excellent experience. Something that we go beyond our competition. We go beyond everybody else. It's something that they see because they'll talk about their experience. We always talk about our experience. You go to a movie and it was a crazy, awesome experience, you're going to talk about it, right? If it was a bad movie, you're going to talk about it, right? Your experience is something that you're going to talk about. And so for Ravencrest Tactical and for the companies I'm doing, and actually I was going to bring up our Nemesis Pickleball company, because we pretty much started this company at the same time we started these lessons. Because I really wanted to show, and I believe that we'll be selling these by the time that we end this series with you all, to show you that it can be done. We just got pictures. The samples should be here probably Thursday or Friday. They're up, the samples of our rackets up there for me, Miss Betts. Oh, you can't see it. That's the worst ever. That's not how it... Yeah, really. Yeah, we're selling half rackets. It's really exciting. All right, you guys fix it in the back and then tell me when you're going to put it up. There it is. All right, so there's our front of our racket. Pretty cool logo that we came up. Right, that logo is bad A, and A stands for amazing. Where's the other one? Or is the other one that one? And then that's the other side of it. And no, they're really cool. And so I'll be talking about that tonight, about our process that we're putting together for our product, using the things that I'm talking about to you, that we're going to get some customers with this. I want that. They're going to be my marketing, especially with a small business. But I wanted to share with you that we're going to get our rackets, get them ready to sell. And I believe the business is going to cost me about $2,500 to start this business. Which, for some of you, you're like, well, I ain't got $2,500 to start my business. Well, you got a couple options. You can start a smaller business that doesn't take as much. But everybody in this room has the ability to save up $2,500. What you're doing right now is the seed that you need to provide for your family, your home, or yourself, or whoever's in your world, right? So all I need to do is I need to get extra seed. And we live in a time and age where everybody in here can get extra seed. You can drive for Uber, right? You can do a few nights a week, 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, and make an extra $300. And in 8, 9 weeks, you could have $2,700. Don't use that money for anything else. It goes in my business fund. You can save up $2,700 in 9 weeks and be able to start your business. Keep doing what you're doing, but for this season, you're like, I have to get extra seed for my business. And so for this pickleball company that we're starting, I believe it's going to cost us somewhere between $2,500, maybe $3,000. I'm not sure about shipping. I check with my shipping lady, and some of those options, and how much the box is going to cost, which we'll also talk about. The experience that people have when they purchase your product. There's the beginning, right? It's the process in the beginning of either coming into your store. How does your store look if you have a storefront like we have one, right? What's their experience with your customers? But most businesses today, it's about the internet. It's the web. What's your web-like experience that you have? Right? Have you ever been to a website when you try to buy something, and it'd be probably easier to break into a bank. It's the hardest thing in the world. Everything, right? And then Amazon. Oh my gosh. Oh, it feels so good, even to say Amazon. To buy something on Amazon, right? You're like, I want this. And then you go, buy now. And it goes, you'll see it in about an hour. Like, it's an incredible experience to buy on Amazon. But there are websites that I try to get away from when I purchase from, because I go to buy and it's just a hassle. And they need, right, I got to enter in, right, all the credit card information, which is a pain nowadays. I know we used to have to do that. And usually they want like a urine test. I don't know, they want so many things from me. I'm just teasing. Like, there's so many things that you have to do to jump through hoops to get it. And got to go to this page, I got to acknowledge, I got to go to this page, and I got to hit this button, hit this. And by the time I get done, I'm like, I don't even want your product. It's so much work. And that's why for ours, we're trying this. I don't know if it works or not. I know that it works, and our theory behind this is, so we'll have a beautiful web page, be simple, easy to navigate. When you go to purchase it, it's going to take us to your Amazon store. I like that for 2 reasons, right? Number one, though it costs me extra money percent Amazon's going to get, I look at it as marketing money. One, it's going to be simple. They can hit buy now, boom, boom, it gets shipped. All the delivery, all the address, everything they need is in there. It's going to be a simple process. But two, they can now leave me a review on Amazon. And I believe that Amazon's going to be our greatest place to sell our rackets on. And so the more sales I get, the more likely I'll come up in the algorithm. And so I think that sending the people to there is going to be very helpful. But we're making it very easy and making it very simple for people to be able to purchase. You come onto there, right? So the beginning, I believe, is very important. How do they experience your product? What is that like? And as soon as they order, right, have you ordered something online and then you're like, well, when is it coming? And you don't know when it's coming. And then you have to contact the place, right? And then it takes a couple days and like, hey, here you go, here's your track. That's very frustrating, right? Once again, Amazon doesn't do that. But what we do with Ravencrest Tactical is we send you out an email that has your tracking number. And it's a fun email. Like, I like to make things fun, right? It's a real fun, hyped up, amazing email. We talk about how somebody dumped Gatorade over somebody's head. They were so excited that you bought a knife from us, that we were playing Born in the USA all throughout, right? It's a really fun, exciting, like quick email it's just fun. Like, we want to make the experience fun for the customer. And here's your tracking number. You have any question or anything, please let us know. And you can click on that. It'll take you right to it. Because once again, every amount of annoyance that you can take out, and also time that it takes the employees to respond back, that's just money. That's time, right? I got to respond. Oh, here's your tracking number. I should have just sent that in the beginning, right? So we take in the beginning, I want to take that experience and make it great as they're waiting for their knife. Then they're going to receive their product. This is a big one to me. We get stuff from Amazon all the time. Have you ever got something and you went, wow? Right? It was just, once again, it's the Apple thing. It's the experience of the box. And so it's adding cost, but to me, it's marketing costs that we're putting more money in, because most pickleball rackets that you get now, they throw it in an Amazon bag. And I've ordered lots of pickleball rackets, right? By the time I get done, I think I have 9 or 10 different ones that we all play with, right? And they just throw it in a bag, and here you go. I actually got one yesterday. It just came in the bag. Here you go. Here's your. So we're going to have an epic, amazing box. It's beautiful. It's all white. It's going to have our logo on the top. It's going to be beautiful. And you're going to open it up, and it's going to go, oh, like it's going to be just, right? It's something different, right? Because I can just put it in a bag, and that's kind of what's expected. But I want to give you something that you even talk about, because how you first experience anything has a big impact on how you experience the whole total product. If the website's a hassle and you didn't get the tracking number and it came late and it was just thrown in a little bag, by the time you go to play with it, you already think it's not good. So then it ends up not being good. So you're going to open ours up, right? And then what you're going to see in there, I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's going to be epic. It's what I call frosted cake, but we'll come back to that. The entire experience of that is going to be great. And then, of course, I want to finish great, right? I want the product to be great. I want to stand behind the product. I want the entire experience, right? When they get it, they start it, every part of it is amazing. All right. You want them to feel like in every step that they got more than they paid for. Businesses that fail all the time, they're one for one. They're one to one, right? And we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago, that I give you $1, you give me something worth $1, there we go. I'm satisfied. You never brag about that. You never got something for $20 and then you went, oh my gosh, this thing is totally worth $20, guys. You got to get this. That's not something that you brag about. It's not something you market. We want, you gave me $1, I gave you something, an experience that's worth $5. Or $7, or $10, right? I've given you something that you can't just go anywhere and get. The entire experience was worth more than you paid for. I thought about things that are great marketing for different businesses, and I think of landscaping. I don't know, I always come to landscaping because I've gone through so many landscapers in my day, and I always think to myself, man, this is what I would do if I had a landscaping company. Because most of them want to nickel and dime me, right? And it's fine, I'll pay it. You got to do this and that, and hey, this is what I charge a month. And then they're like, hey, we need this and we need that, and it's 25 here, and 40 here, and 80 here. It's just nickel and diming. I thought to myself, if you just thought about it, the extra stuff that you do for me as marketing money, not all of it, I'm not saying I want stuff for free, but I am saying, hey, I don't trim those trees, but I decided just to trim them, and I threw it in. It took you an extra 20, 30 minutes, right? And you always let the customer know, right? Hey, I did this, and I threw it in. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? That's amazing. And then what happens is over time, because men talk about things that they have, like a landscaping company, I'm going to brag about you. I'm like, oh my gosh, my landscaper is incredible. I don't know. He does such an incredible job, and he doesn't nickel and dime me. Man, you got to try my guy out, right? You give them more than they're paying for. Yeah, this is what we agreed on, but I'm going to do a little bit more every week for you, right? And I'm going to let you know about the little stuff that I've done, in a sense. I'm going to do more. We did this, and sometimes it can just be an illusion. So with our knives are not made really for sheaths. They're just not. Most people put them in their pockets, right? But China sends us sheaths with every knife. So we have boxes and boxes of gajillions of these sheaths. So I thought to myself, you know what? What if we just started telling people, like we don't advertise it, but when they get a knife, we're like, hey, you know what? Have a free sheath, right? And you'd be amazed at how many people are like in the store, they buy a knife and we're like, you know what? I'm going to throw in a free sheath for you. And they're like, are you kidding me? Wow, thank you. Oh my God. It's so funny that just a little something extra, people are like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I was going to throw them out. You're actually saving me time, right? But I'm giving you a free sheath, right? And so you find ways, right, in order to get people to talk about you. You get things extra for people, and I call it frosting the cake. Frost that cake. You know, cake is great. It's good. Cake is good. The frosting is probably one of the easy, normal frosting is pretty easy. The cake, building the cake takes a lot of work. The frosting, though, makes a cake amazing. It's about the frosting. The frosting is great. And making sure that with our product, we take the little extra time that it takes, I call it, and frost that cake. How do we make the experience just a little bit better, right? So for our pickleball rackets, you're going to open it up. And inside there, right, it's going to be in the nice little thing cut out for it. You'll have the racket. And then there's going to be one of our Nemesis pickleballs that you didn't expect you were going to get. It's going to be in the box, right? And there's twofold on that. One, we're selling pickleballs, so that's good. I want you to play with it and become loyal to mine and want to buy mine again. But two, it's just extra. You're like, oh, I didn't know I was going to get a free pickleball. That's pretty cool, right? It doesn't cost a lot, yet it is just a little frosting on the cake. Now, I haven't talked to my sons about this, but I'm actually considering seeing if they like the idea, because we're also going to be selling pickleball for wrapping the handles. Maybe throwing a little roll, it costs 30 cents in there, and it's worth $9, $10, $12. And maybe we throw that in there also. We have in this box a couple little things that they were not expecting that will get them talking. We're Ravencrest Tactical, you know how we frost the cake is we put a little bag, we've been doing this for 5 years, we put a little bag of Skittles in with the knife. They bought a $200 knife, and I gave them an 80-cent bag of Skittles. Do you know what they talk most about? Them dang Skittles. No, I get so many crazy reviews. People are like, the knife is awesome. Love the Skittles, right? You get it in all caps on the Skittles, right? We get email. Oh my God, I didn't expect. Thank you for the Skittles. I love my Skittles. And it's just a little frosting, a little bit of frosting that makes them think, you were thinking about me, I'm important and I'm valuable, and you went beyond what I expected. You gave me some Skittles. And so finding a way in whatever that you're doing to do a little bit more to frost the cake, I was thinking of, it's just things in my world. Like if you have a house cleaning business, right? You do your normal stuff they're paid for, and then you go, hey, by the way, we did all your baseboards today. Well, how much do I owe you? Oh, no, we just threw it in. You don't have to do it every time. Maybe you do it every other time. Maybe once every couple months you do something, a little extra that you did, and you just threw it in. Oh my gosh, right? You gave me more than I paid for. Now you have given me a voice that I want to tell people about my amazing. And even when you make a mistake now, you're going to have a little bit more grace in my world because you gave me more than I paid for. I thought about, I know that we have some realtors that are here too. How can you, big brainstorming, how can you do more than you pay for? I know, and let me tell you the perception of most people, and I don't agree with it. A lot of people, they get their household and they go, you made how much? Are you kidding me? I have people say, and they made this much. And I'm the voice that goes, yeah, but you don't realize right? Realtors know what I'm talking about. Like you do a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that you're working and doing. And then it takes a lot of people you have to work with before you finally get a sale, right? And so, it's not like you're making, $4 billion a year on selling houses, right? And so, but what can you do, right, to when people walk away that you did more than another realtor? There was something you did more. You did something more. And I thought to myself, I was walking, my son just bought a house. And so I'm walking around with him, and right away, Maddie's like, okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the lights and the fans. I'm going to get all new fans. And I thought to myself, and maybe I don't know the world of realtor enough, but this is how I think. I think to myself, I would take a note, and then when the house went through and I got paid, I'd be like, hey, why don't you guys go down? You guys like Lamp Plus, or where are you going to get your lights at? Lamp Plus, $1,200. I'm going to buy $1,200 with your lights and your lamps. Are you kidding me? You're going to buy me $1,200? Right? And you go, Scott, that's a lot of money, $1,200. I get that, right? I get that. But guess what? What if that right there was enough for them to tell somebody else and you got one more customer? You got one more customer who you sold a house, and on average, you make $10,000 to $20,000 on a house sale. Somewhere, I think the average in Arizona is like $12,000 to $15,000, right? You sold $1,200 and you made $12,000. Once again, you have to look at that you were marketing money. I'm not saying it's the best idea in the world. It's off the top of my head. I would find a way in which that I can give the customer something that puts me over the edge of any other realtor, where when you talk, right? Guys are the best about this. Like, we always want to one up. And they're like, hey, my realtor's awesome, sold my house in this many days. And you're like, yeah, but my realtor sold my house this many days and bought all our fans and our lights. And they're like, oh, well, I like your realtor more than my realtor. Finding a way to do a little bit extra. Of course, stand behind your product. Every customer elated. Every customer elated. Satisfied is not an option. I don't ever want a customer that is satisfied. And this is where I was talking about earlier, that I see every negative email that comes in, every negative review. It's very important as owners that we see that. We keep a pulse on. That's the most important. You're like, well, that's going to be a lot of work. If it's a lot of work, you're not running a good company. I shouldn't see any. Does that make sense to you? Like, if I see them, I'm annoyed at them. And so it also tells the employees, hey, we don't want unsatisfied customers. But when it does come through to me, then I'm the one that can direct it. Because guess what? I got to know when there is an iceberg in the water. I have to be able to direct the ship. I have to be able to go and say, hey, this is how you deal with this. This is how you deal with that. Because employees, like it or not, don't care as much as I do about the customers. Right? And over time, when they've been doing the job over and hearing complaints and everything else, they tend, right, not to really fix the problem, but I call it giving the customer homework. And that's one of the worst things that you can do, I think, to put on the top. When your company makes a mistake, who should pay? You or the customer? I should pay. It should be, when my company makes a mistake, it should be on me, and it shouldn't inconvenience my customers. Right? So for my competition, from what I've heard and what I've seen, right? When they make a mistake with a knife, they send you out a wrong knife. What they say is, hey, send us the knife back. When we get it, we'll go ahead and ship you out, your knife back to you. Really? You're going to make me wait? Right? Well, I have to go ship the knife. That's fun. That's super exciting for me that you made a mistake, and now I have to make a trip down. I don't even know where a post office is. I haven't shipped anything probably in 30 years. I don't even know. So now I got to go down and find a post office, right? Because you can't do it. Anybody remember the days when you could put the flag up in your thing? Wasn't that the greatest days in the world? Right? Now you have to go find a blue box. I don't know where they are. Right? I can't find a phone booth, and I can't find one of those. And so now I have to go ship this thing off somewhere. And now I have to wait for you to get it, which is 3 to 5 days. And then you got to get it, probably take a day to turn around. Then I got to wait another 3 to 5 days. You made the mistake, yet I'm the one that's annoyed in the whole process. See, it's very important that when my company makes a mistake, we simply go, we send you the wrong knife, keep the knife. What? Yeah, we're going to send you another one, and I'm a 2-day air it. You'll have it in 2 days. I want 1-day air it because it's ungodly how expensive that is. I don't love you that much. But I do love, once in a while I will for a big thing where they're like, oh my God, I was supposed to have it as a birthday, and then I have to eat $100, mistake, and that's annoying to me. But most of the people are very excited. Keep the knife, so you keep a $200 knife, and I'm going to send you another the one that you order, and I'm going to give you that for free. What did I do? I turned a bad situation into a marketable situation, right? Right? I didn't give you one for one. I gave you 100%. I gave you more. Nothing's more annoying to me than going through a drive-thru and I get home, and they didn't put my large fry in there, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? Then you call the place. I love this conversation I have with managers all the time. And you call the place, and they go, come on down, I'll give you a free fry. And I go, you're not giving me a free fry. You're giving me the fry that I paid for. No, you didn't give me anything for free. I got nothing for free. I simply am getting homework. I have to drive, right, 20 minutes, right, total, 10 there, 10 back, to get a fry that I already paid for. You're just taking away my time to break me even. One time, and this changed my life, I had a manager at a Wendy's, right, missed a fry, and he goes, come on down. Next time you come down, it's a free meal. Put your name in the book, you get a free meal. I said, just for me? He goes, no, your whole family, just get a free meal. I'm like, you don't know how many people are in my family. Okay, praise the Lord. No, I'll work this up. He'd never seen a bigger bill in his life. Right? But that's how you do it. Right? That's how, right? You didn't make us even. Instead, you made me win in your mistake. And when I see every emails, then the big mistakes I can navigate. We had a border patrol. Just came across, all of a sudden I got this email, and this guy's probably built like me. Like, it takes a lot before I'm going to email you. I'll take it. I'm waiting for him to take it. But he ordered 30 knives for, he's one of the heads up of the Border Patrol, for all of his men, right? They had their budget. He ordered 30 knives. That's a big order, right? And they were supposed to be engraved, and he was going to have it for this big ceremony. Well, I get it, and he's like, I'll never use Ravencrest again. Ceremony was last night. Still haven't got my knives. Right? So, yeah, what a horrible company. Like, and it is the first one. I didn't get any complaints up to that. Like, I just get this one, right? And customers will do that. They just, right? He could have told me a week ago I would have met him, but whatever. It's not his fault. It's our fault. So I have to investigate, and they're like, yeah, the knives went out yesterday. He should have them tomorrow. I go, but their event is today. Right? What good is that possibly good? He didn't have his event. So what did I do? I called the guy up, and I said, here's the thing. And I think his bill was $4,000. I said, I'm going to refund all $4,000 to you. Those knives are absolutely free. I said, I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. You guys all get the knives. Do you know that since then he's ordered knives from me 4 times, right? So I did have to sow some money into him. That's a big refund. How many people know that's a good refund? That's not a large fry and a Wendy's free dinner. That was like $120. Like, this was a big one. And I also, it was kind of cool, I have it in my office, they gave me a plaque. I'm like the Border Patrol Guy of the Year or something crazy. I literally made Border Patrol Guy of the Year with a plaque that is up in my office. I'll take a picture, I'll bring it in next week. Something like that, I'm something like that, that they gave to me. Now, what did I do? I turned a guy that would never use Ravencrest again to probably one of my most loyal customers. I get so many orders from the area that he's down in. Right? What did I do? I turned the negative into something positive. That's what we as owners do. Employees will never do that. They don't care. It's our job to navigate and make sure that every single customer that I have, whether it was a good experience or bad experience, I turn it around by multiplying what you get so you get more than I got, so that you will talk about my company and help me build this company. And so we make sure that we turn around the negative into the positive. Never leave a customer behind in marketing. We'll see how far I get, because I definitely want to do about 15, 20 minutes of questions. Never leave a customer behind. In today's age, the worst thing you could anti-market is allow a bad review to be out there. For the love of all, I just look at these restaurants, I go, what are you doing? Right? You ever do that? You're at a place and you go, hey, find me food around here. And first thing that I look at, if you ain't got 4 stars or more, I would never eat there. You got 3 stars or 2 stars, you got to be kidding me. You lost my business personally. Amazon's the same way. You're on Amazon, you're looking for a product, and there's a 3-star product, you're like, there's no way I would ever buy that product. I just wouldn't buy that. We live in a world, and it's kind of sad for restaurants, because it's like 100 to 1. You're 100 times more likely to get a negative review if somebody had a negative experience, rather than if somebody had a good experience, somebody's going to take the time to give you a good one. That's why you have to be diligent, that you never leave a negative experience behind. That when I get a negative experience, that I'm full force on how do I make this right. Whatever the costs are, whatever I have to do. I have an employee, and one of the biggest things that they do is they're on they're on all of it, because people nowadays, they want to leave it on your social media. So on your Instagram, on your Facebook, oh, I can't believe, blah, 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 blah. And so our goal is get you to tear that. I don't want to take it down. right? Because then they'll talk about that. I want to get you to take that down, right, and shift it around. I had the same thing with a customer on there. He was just blasting, and my guy knows to let me know, so I let him know. So I had to reach across with him on Messenger and to find out it wasn't. He made it a big deal. It really wasn't a big deal. And you know what it cost me? I just had to send him one of my. I said, pick any knife you want, pick it all. I said, and engrave whatever you want it, do whatever you want. And that cute little guy, right, who didn't get the worst service in the world, he picked like a $300 knife. That's fine. I don't mind. And I engraved it. I did it all. I sent it out to him. And would you know, he took that review down, and he gave me one of the most epic reviews I've ever had in my life. Whatever it costs, I believe, it's so vital, especially when you're small, that no negative reviews. That I want to make sure that whatever I have to do, there's companies spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just trying to get reviews out of there. And every review has to be priceless. And so I have to really make sure that their experience is great. But as you grow, Ravencrest Tactical, as we grow, we make, employees are going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to get out. People are not going to get satisfied. And it doesn't matter. We think that, and I'll talk more about hiring in a couple weeks, because you'll get to that stage, hiring people. But, I've had managers who just about tried to destroy my company, right? Because you get to that place where I'm like, oh, they'll take care of it. And they don't. Because, once again, you have to put it in your head. Nobody cares, right, more about the company than you do. Nobody will ever care more than you. And most employees don't truly care. They just, right? Customers are more work. They're more of a hassle. And we've all been employees in places where you're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? We're closing in 5 minutes. What are you doing here, right? But as an owner, I'm like, get in here. Come on, we stay open all night for you. I don't mind staying open. That's a different mentality. All right, so that's the marketing aspect. There's stuff that you got to do in your book for that. But to constantly remind yourself that I want my customers to talk about me. There's not a greater marketing. There's not anything you could do that's better than to make sure that everybody that gets your product is going to find a way to brag about how amazing your business is. One of the big mistakes that small businesses makes is they'll grow too fast or they start off too big. And it's very important, as those of you that are starting a business have the realization that I don't want to, you can't start off too big. Right? When Peyton started wrestling in the 3rd grade, I didn't have him go against 10th graders, right? There's a process like where he has to grow in his wrestling ability so that he can challenge harder and harder kids, right? But you'll see people, they'll take their life savings, take $400,000, and they'll take loans out to wherever, and they'll start a restaurant, and not realizing that 60% of all restaurants go under in the first year. Why is that? Not because they didn't have good food, not because they didn't have a great idea. They didn't have the wisdom and the experience that it takes, right, to start something that big, right? So they started off too big, right? I'm not putting $1 million into pickleball rackets. I'm just not doing that, right? I'm not ordering 1,000 pickleball rackets. You know how many pickleball? I'm ordering 100 pickleball rackets. Let's find out how this does. Because I don't know. I don't know everything about pickleball rackets. I will begin to learn and know more and more about it. And I don't know how the business is, and I don't know what to sell, and I don't know what people are going to like. Are they going to like our design or not going to? I don't want to do 1,000 pickleball rackets, and people are like, I hate the design. That black right there, I can't see the ball. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I don't know. So you got to learn. You have to make sure, as the Bible says, do not despise small beginnings. That it's in the small beginnings that we learn, right? We learn and we grow with our business. I have to make sure. Our knife company was in my garage for 4 years, right? Holly's like, and it was funny, because poor Holly, because we had my toy company in the garage for 4 years before that. And so when we started that, she's like, now we have 2 businesses in the garage until I sold the toy company. She was extra annoyed, right? One of the greatest days of her life is when we moved into a store, and but now we're having a pickleball. It's going to be in my garage. And so, why not? Why wouldn't I put it in the garage? Don't tell her. She doesn't know that yet. She's not watching. Love you. Right? And making sure that, people will start, let's say a pickleball club, and they're like, okay, we got to get a place in the mall, a storefront, and they'll get a store, and you don't know how to navigate yet. You haven't learned what works and what doesn't work, what's going to sell. And I got a great example about Scotty's crepes. One day, maybe I'll have a crepe store. I think that the Andersons have some of the best crepe recipe ever handed down for generation to generation. But I wouldn't go start a big restaurant. What I would do is I would probably find a little place that I could sell. Maybe I could find Little League games or one of these things that they'll let me come out there, have a little table set up. My costs are going to be little, right? And I get all my batter, and I have people come out, right? And probably on the first night, I'm probably not going to make any money. But you know what I will do is I'll learn what people liked, and I'll learn how much batter I needed and how much I needed and how much I threw away and the waste and how to set up. And I'll have a learning process. Probably lose some money. And then the next week, maybe I'll go out again, right? And maybe I find out what this doesn't work. But you know what? I'll try something different. I go to this place, and I'm like, oh, I sold more that week. And maybe I only made $30, $40, $50. But remember that in the beginning, everything that you make goes back into the business. I think that's important. What people will do also is they'll quit their job, they'll start their little pickleball company, and then everything that comes in becomes their salary. But if I'm not putting any seed into the ground, the business will fail. So for Ravencrest Tactical, it was 3 years that everything that came in went into the business. It just went right back in, right? Because that's how we had to use it to build. So I had to keep money coming in different places while that was building. And then finally in the third year, we started taking paychecks. And then that was a great year. And the fourth year was even much better. And the fifth year, and every year it gets bigger. One of the things, and I'll add this here, I'm going to do about 4 more minutes, and we pick up where we leave, wherever I stop. I'm just going to talk until we're out of time. Is one of the things that I do in the business, and I highly believe in this, is that the business is a partner to me. So me and my partner, right? There's 2 of us, and then we take the profits and we split it 3 ways. I get 1/3, my partner gets 1/3, and then the business gets 1/3. We're always putting 1/3 of the profits back into the business, right? So that we can come out with new knives, come out with new products, right? That we're getting more capital for the times that we want to do new stuff. And so we're always putting money back. So even when you begin to start taking the profits out, making sure that you're putting profits in so that you can grow the business. So I would start selling, right, Scotty's crepes, right? And so then, right, over a period of a year, I'm learning. I'd probably find out better places that I can get better deals on the ingredients, right? And better ways to cook and faster ways. I'm kind of learning how many people are going to be there, how to judge how much I need. And I'd learn a lot in that first year. And maybe in that first year, I'm making $100, $200 a week. And maybe I save up 10 grand, right? Putting that money in. And now I would buy a food cart. Right, and I get that food cart going, right? And I'd get one going at a place, and there's another learning experience as I go do the roundups and different things, and I'm learning the food cart and what I need. And then maybe halfway through the year, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get an employee, so I can do some more. And I get an employee, and there's a learning process that I'm gonna tell you what, there's a learning curve to having employees, right? Because how to hire an employee, and then you have an employee. I think it was our 4th employee. I think they stole, we don't know how much they stole. Let me say that I would guesstimate it's over $50,000. Like, that's a lot of money. And so, yes, good for him. And what's great about, like, if you steal money from a company in that way, I'm not going to say nothing. No, I'm just going to leave it alone. Right? So he's good. He's free. He's enjoying life. And so good for him. But it's not his fault. It's my fault because I didn't have it here on the money and the finances. My mistake. Good for you. You got 50 grand. So I learned from that mistake. So you learn in employees and how to handle, who to hire, all the time, right? Who to trust, how to make sure you keep your hands on the finances, because a lot of the population, they'll steal. If you don't have things in place, people will steal. It's just the way that life is. It's sad, but it is true. And so you begin to learn employees. And then I would maybe buy a second cart with the money that I'm putting away. Maybe a third cart, right? 4th cart. And then finally, maybe 3-4 years into this, I would now have some good capital, and I would start a restaurant. In starting the restaurant, I now have a whole bunch of people that know about Scotty's crepes. They've been eating my crepes for 3 years. They love it. I also can be advertising to all the emails that, hey, I got a grand opening. I start my business with customers. See, people start a restaurant, they have no customers, and they cannot sustain the 3 years that it takes to get the customers. Whatever your business is, be wise that you started at a reasonable level, that you can grow with your business, and that as your business grows, you grow at the same pace so that you don't end up losing a whole lot. All right, let's do some questions. Betsy will have it, and she's going to shine a thing. Put your hand up. If you have a question, if you don't have a question, Scotty can go home early. Any questions out there? Yes, we got some over here.
You talked about giving free products. Do you use that on your taxes as a deduction?
It will naturally, it shows up in the way that taxes are done anyway. So you can overcomplicate business. I keep everything simple. So really, taxes are done on how much money you have at the end of the year in your bank account. They're going to say, all right, here you go. Bottom line, that's what's going to come out. So you have everything that I spent to get my product, everything that came in, everything that I paid my employees, and at the end, they look at your bank account. They allocate everything as long as you're doing all right. I'm not buying Holly as hats and dresses and stuff. As long as everything is legit and you're doing everything, all your expenditures the way that they should be, then it all navigates. And they go, okay, last year you had $10,000 in the bank. This year you got $20,000 in the bank. So you're going to pay taxes on $10,000. So as I bought that knife out of my bank account. So if I give it, it's really already accounted for in the financial process. So it washes. So I don't have to worry about claiming it. The only way that I would claim it is if I took my own money out of my own bank account and bought the knife and then gave it to them. Then I could claim that possibly on my personal. You could claim it on your personal, but it just overcomplicates it, right? Just let the company buy it, and then it'll all wash out. Does that make sense? And as you get into business, and I talk more in a couple weeks also about kind of the accounting aspect of things, that you really can overcomplicate. You have enough on your plate, right? And I really believe there comes a point pretty early on when you get an accountant. And accountants they're not crazy expensive, and they really make taxes and everything so much. I think we had an accountant every year, so I've never not had an accountant take care of my taxes and tell me how to do it, making sure that things are legit, making sure that my expenditures, because here's what most people do. They start a business and they go, well, I think that's a write-off, because I did that too. That's got to be a write-off. And then I have the funniest accountant ever, because I always go, well, that's a write-off. And he goes, yeah, you can write it off. I go, well, let's do it. He goes, the problem you'll have is if you get audited, the IRS won't count it as a write-off. I go, well, you said I can write it off. He goes, you can write off anything. You can write everything off. He goes, you can do everything you want. The problem will come is the IRS will say, that's not a write-off. And I go, okay, then I don't want to write that off. He goes, I don't think so. And I go, then I won't. So it ends up washing it in a way. It is a tax deduction in your company. So yes. All right, next question. Yes.
Hey, Pastor Scott, last week you asked for us to do an excellent review for you.
Yes.
And I do not know how to do that.
So
where do I go?
So you have to buy the book on Amazon.
Okay.
So that's why, if I give you a free book. So if you have to buy one on Amazon and you buy it, you'll get that book, and then you're going to show me the review that you do on Amazon, and then I'm going to give you a free book. So you get two books. Perfect. Really for the price of one. And as you see, I'm using what I'm teaching you. How important are reviews for my book? They're priceless. So I'm giving away as marketing, right? I'm spending money on you to get reviews, which then is going to help sell my product. I'm going as far as to give people knives, right, for the top 3 reviews, because epic reviews are they're so valuable, right? You know that. When you're looking through a product and you see that epic, amazing review, it's got pictures, and they really spent some time. It really, those are the ones that we look at. And so, so go on Amazon, buy the book if you haven't bought it, and then show me if you already bought the book, I'll give you another book. All right, you do a review, it's worth a book to me all day long. All right, another question.
How do you set your pricing for your products? How do you figure out your pricing?
And we talked about that a couple weeks ago, so that'll be on one of the videos. But it depends on a number of things that I talked about, whether you're going to be a Ferrari-type product, or if you're going to be like me, a Jeep-type product, or if you're going to be a Kia product, right? They're all different, right? And there's probably even another hillbilly product even farther down. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of depends on that. My standard that I try to get to, and I'm always pretty close, is I want to take whatever I paid for it, I want to multiply by 5. That's really what I'm trying to do. That's the best. To me, by the time I get done with all my different costs and everything that I have, it's what's made me a profit. But if I can get more, so for the pickleball racket world, and this also is the same thing I do in the knife. So we have our $99 knife, right, which costs me the same amount of money as my $200 knife. right? That's weird, right? Well, I gotta get my knife in your hands for $99, and you'll love it, and then you're gonna want to upgrade, right, into something cooler and sleeker, and it's got more stuff on it, even though the cost is the same. So I'm running the same thing for the pickleball rackets. We kind of figured out our niche that we want to be. I don't want to be the $29, hobo racket. I don't want to be the cheap, super cheap racket, but I like kind of being in that $79 range. 79 is kind of like the average person who's kind of getting into pickleball, but, is not built like, I'm the guy in sports, I'm the guy that's going to buy the $200 racket. That's just how I'm built. I don't know why. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't think it's a better racket, but it doesn't matter. It's just how I'm built, right? And I'm cheap on everything else. My kids know, we go to a restaurant and everybody gets water, right? And we'll get one drink, we'll share it, right? That's right. I got lots of money in the bank, but we share a drink, except for my wife because she won't follow along, right? And it's so funny. Over the years, my kids just get water now. They don't even want my drink. So I end up with a drink. And so I'm very cheap. But when it comes to like sporting stuff, like golf, I got to have some nice clubs I want to play with, even though they're probably not better than the cheap clubs. I don't know. So we want to be in that $79 range where the average person that's kind of getting a pickleball will do that. But then our next racket will be our $129 racket. No, actually, we're going to do a $79, then we're going to do a $99 racket, which costs me the same amount of money, but it's the pro version. Okay, so this is better, even though it's the same racket, kind of, but it's got a little bit. But I'm just giving you facts. And then we're gonna have a $129 racket, maybe $149. We haven't figured that out yet. And so, but all the rackets will cost me the same amount of money, so I can get people at the different entry levels that they take, and they're like. And it's so funny and I'm that way. Anybody ever get like new golf clubs or something, and you're like, oh my gosh, right? These things are the first time you hit them. It's not the golf clubs. It has to do with your confidence in the golf clubs that makes it better. And you hit it right. It's just crazy how it is. And so I believe the same thing for our rackets. So Oil of Olay did a great experiment with that to find out that sometimes the cheapest price doesn't sell you the most and doesn't make you the most amount of money, in the same way that sometimes the most expensive isn't going to do. But there are Ferrari products. I mean, there's tennis shoes that sell for $800, $1,000, $5,000. Like they decided this is what our product does. We're gonna, right? I use Yeti coolers. My gosh, Yeti coolers are like gold, right? You can buy kind of the same cooler now at Walmart for $49, but it's kind of cool to have a Yeti. People want a Yeti. They want that Yeti. They want that name brand. And I met the Yeti guys when they were first started. We were starting the knife company. And we exchanged Yeti coolers for knives with them. And so they're just a great group of guys who came up with a great idea. They simply, this is a bonus, they made something better. Have I talked about that yet? They just took something, they said the cooler, and they said, let's make the best cooler. How do we make the cooler better? That's all they did, right? And now they're a multi-million dollar company by simply, my trash can, I talk about in the book, Simply Human, greatest trash can on the face of the earth. I'm not going to lie to you. We went on vacation. The trash can was in the house. We used it. And on the second day, I got on Amazon. I ordered that trash can, have it delivered to my house. I will never not have that trash can. I'll never not have it. He's the greatest. He's solved every problem I've ever had with trash can for 50 years of my life. Every single problem is solved. The problem where the bag doesn't fit right, and you always have to tie it, right? They sell bags that fits exactly in it, right? The other problem is you have to go somewhere else to go get the bag, or it's underneath. You take the bag out, and in a little pouch right here, you just pull the next bag out like tissue. And it just goes in the bag, and it goes down, and everything works. And I applaud. Every time I see him, I go, I love you. I love that trash can. What's the brand? Simply Human. Simply Human. And I got the M-size trash bags. It's the greatest trash container ever known to man. I could not live without him. There's things in my house I could live without. He's not one of them. All right, so they just made a great trash can. And so somebody in here, I think God will give you an idea. It doesn't have to be a product that's never existed before. You simply take a product and you find a way to take, because everybody in this room, we have things in our world, right, that's been the same way for 30, 40 years, and it's just annoying. Somebody just said, the trash can's annoying. And they just simply took the annoyance out of it, right? And now they got me talking. I'm their best marketer. I'll market them all over the world. They're the greatest things ever. All right, we got time for one more question. Yes. Yes.
So our business is not a business of tangible products, but it is an insurance agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you, giving one for one, giving more back. Mm-hmm. that type of thing. How would you approach that? We do have an LLC. We do have a website, so on, to get reviews and asking clients, because they're buying us. They're buying paper, but they're really buying us.
Right. You as people, they're buying you. You're selling. It's about relationships oftentimes with insurance, isn't it? Right. You're talking to people. You're taking them out. You're investing in them. How do you give them more, right? And how do you get rid of some of the stipulation, the preconceived notions that people have of insurance, right? And how do you find a way to give them more than any other company seems to give them? More attention. You know what I'm saying? More like, can they call you on the phone? You know, can they get you anytime? Are you available? I had my old insurance agent, when I needed something, right, they always gave me homework. I hate getting homework. Does that make sense? I hate that. But hey, I need this paper. They're like, all right, go to the web, get this and do this and that, all right? And then you just gave me work to do. I don't want work to do. I have enough to do in my lifetime without you giving me work. I'm giving you money. Why you give me work? But my new agent, oh my gosh, I love her with all my heart. Right? I needed for my business. I needed some documents, and she goes, got it, on it, and she took care of everything. And then I needed something because she owns all my insurance. So my house, with our bank, they're like, hey, you don't have insurance. And but my insurance had sold my insurance to another insurance, and then this insurance didn't report back to the bank that I had insurance, so it was in a big old mess. So I said, hey, look at my letter I just got. And she goes, no problem. She sat on the phone. Now, this is and maybe she exaggerated, but I'm not against this. Oh, Lord, help me. I just said a lie. I don't know if I said a lie, but just take what I'm saying here. Like, say you sat on the phone for 30 minutes, right, for the company, for me. And she said, I was on hold for 3 hours, but I got it all fixed. She might have never been on hold. It didn't matter. She told me, she said, and I believe her, she was some point, and she handled it all for me. And I'm marketing her now, even though I'm not going to give out her name and stuff. But she made my experience of something that could be very frustrating, that has been frustrating in my past, into a very good experience by just not giving me stuff to do. And so I would brainstorm, get some smart people around, and ask your customers too. Hey, what do you think what parts did you like and didn't like? That's my pool guy's doing that also. I think this is genius for a pool guy. Every week I'm going to get a little thing. He says he's putting it in place, and I'll be able to rate my experience. And he's going to see all of them. I'm like, that's cool, right? I can be like, boom, I loved it. Or, I'll probably be the guy that's like, even if it was bad, I'm like, hey, he could do, But there were weeks where it was absolutely horrible experience. And he never got to know about it. And so I like that also. So asking your customers, asking your people what things that they like, what things could I do better. But as a company, do your very best. Your customers have enough to do. Don't give them stuff to do. If the best you can, the very best you can, make their entire experience enjoyable and easy. And like I am doing right now, if anybody ever asked me, hey, I want this, I'd be like, oh, I have the perfect person, because they went beyond the call of duty. I know you enjoyed today's session on Think Like a Businessaire. And don't forget to pick up the book and sow the book into some people's lives out there. I really encourage you, if you know a single mom out there, my heart is to touch the single moms out there. They're doing a lot. And if there's a way that you can sow into a single moms, I'm going around all over the country and I'm sowing into single moms out there also. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Don't forget to go on Amazon, get the book, and next week is going to be amazing and awesome.